Hey guys, Phil here, Zonmaster, Ruby on Rails, and today, yes, it's a Ruby on Rails talk, as seems to be the want recently on this channel. And what I'm going to be looking at today is incorporating data tables with Rails and doing some what I consider to be advanced stuff, but maybe you guys already know it and you're just going to go, man, it's easy. So if you don't know what Datatables is this jQuery plugin that gives you pretty awesome table features like sorting and just pagination. And what I use it for and what most people use it for is the fact that you can do everything server side, so it has built-in hooks to call stuff out for Ajax. I'm not going to be doing that in this because that's not what this is about, but call out to Ajax, pull in the data, and all that rest of that stuff. It is the thing. If you want to show, tabular data, I think you should be using data tables. So that being said, what I'm going to do today is create a Rails 5 app. Yes, I'm doing this in Rails 5. I'm not going to go through the exercise of doing this in Rails 6. I use this in production in Rails 5, the stuff that I'm showing you today. So yes, create a Rails 5 app, install all the goodies, like Bootstrap and jQuery and all that stuff like that, so we can get something that looks okay. Put in data tables, show you the basics of data tables, and then show you what I think is a cool, slightly advanced feature. And mostly we're talking about using select boxes down the side, to select rows and do stuff on them. So let's get into it. My camera might be a bit close. So let's switch over. How do we do that? There we go. I will try and keep myself on the right side of the picture. So let's create a Rails 5 app. Is that big enough? Yeah, I really don't want to make it any bigger than that. So Rails, and then you can do the version, so you don't, specify what version you want. Rails 5.2.5 in this case. 5.2.5 is the latest 5.2 branch or release. And Rails 5.new, and we're going to call this Data Tables Demo. And I'm just going to use SQLite, so I'm not going to do anything with database because we're not really showing anything here. So it'll go off. It'll hopefully create a nice app. Let's go into it. And let's open it up with VS Code and see what we got here. Okay, got our gem files. Rails 5.525, Ruby 6. Let's make that a little bigger for you guys. There we go. We should be able to see everything fine now. So we have the app there that should run. We don't need to create the database and everything right now because we're going to do some fun stuff first. So let's add in jQuery, and I use the jQuery Rails app for that, or a gem for that. jQuery bundles add jQuery Rails. Should go off, should go do its thing, and you put it in. If we can go and take a look if we want. There's jQuery Rails there, 4.4, and of course we still need to add in JavaScript. Let's require jQuery, just jQuery, I think, and I think that's all we need to do for jQuery. So we're done with jQuery. Now let's add jQuery data tables. Data tables. You're going to see a lot of my bad typing. If you've been watching any others, I'm not good with my letters. So jQuery data table. It'll go through and should have added that in, jQuery data tables and jQuery data tables. So we are all set to go. So this time I'm going to be doing an order app, you know, like e-commerce app that I'm familiar with, like we do in ZonMaster. So we're going to be looking at a table of orders. So let's create a scaffold of this. Scaffold e-com order. And what do we want? We want a price, which is a float. Holy cow. A item SKU, purchase date, which will be a date time, platform order number, because you know each platform has their own way of doing order numbers. Sales channel, because we sell across the world. Status, customer name, customer state, shipped at, because you need to know when it got out of the warehouse. Num items shipped, which is an integer, and the payment method. You know, we might want to show something about that. So let's go off and create that. There we go. It creates all of our views and everything like that that we're not really going to use, but to give a air of reality. And let's now create the database, db create, and we're just using SQLite here, db migrate. Okay. Let's go into roots. Let's add a root. Gotta love the English language. So what was it? Ecom orders index. Save that. And now, if we run, let's create another tab for that. If we run the server, and if we go to localhost, there we have our view. This is the standard Rails index view, as you know. But let's get some data in there. If you watched before, you know that I love this gem, Faker. So we're going to use Faker. Beautiful day here in Japan today. And what we'll do is generate 100 orders. And this is code I prepared earlier because that would be very painful to watch me type this. So let's go through what we're doing here. We have let's check the columns. You can do that by looking at the schema. We have, oh my gosh. You guys didn't tell me I made a typing mistake. All right, let's drop the database. Do this right. And did you know you can do this? Rails destroy scaffold. And it'll remove everything. Now let's create that with an item SKU. Here we go. Create, migrate. Okay, now we look. All right, here's our columns. Price, item SKU, purchase date, so on and so on. So we've got price, item SKU, purchase date. I think I called it something else, didn't I? Platform order number. And sales channel, yes. Status, yes. Customer name, yes. Customer state, yes. Shipped at, yes. Num item shipped, yes. Payment method is not an array. This was the mistake I made in the last one. And I'm not using those. So we have, do a quick format, which didn't really work. And well, we've got order type. I'm going to just choose randomly from these three as possible: confirmed, shipped, or delivered. Purchase date, Faker, time, anytime in the last 30 days. Shipped at, if it was shipped or delivered. If the order type is included in shipped or delivered, then set the shipped at to be 3 days after the purchase date. Otherwise set it to be nil. And then just create the object. So we got a platform order number, which I'm doing a 388, which is like Amazon does. Price, which is the anything between $10 and $20.99. The item SKU, purchase date that we set up here, sales channel. I'm not going to do Amazon DE because later we'll see. Status is this order type up here. Customer name is the name. Customer state is a state, which is an American state. That's why I'm going to get rid of Amazon DE there. Shipped at is shipped at. Number of items shipped. Let's do between 1 and 2. Yeah, whatever. And a payment method of a credit card. Actually, that's what I wanted to do. Why don't we do MasterCard or Visa? So this will go through it 100 times, and because there's a lot of random stuff in here, it will create a bunch of random data. So let's just do that. Rails DB seed. Now, if we go and take a look, there we are. There's our data. That looks ugly, I think. So, but at least the data's in there. So why don't we go off and add some nice looking, I like to have stuff that looks kind of nice. So what we'll do is add Bootstrap. Of course, there's a million ways to add Bootstrap, but we're being all Railsy today, so let's do it like that. Rails 4.1. So we want just Bootstrap 4. I'm not going to get into Bootstrap 5. All right, that will have added. And now, here's a little tip for you. App CSS, right, is this. But we need to be SCSS, I think. So because we're going to do this, we're going to import Bootstrap. And okay, and then we need to add into the application JS Popper and Bootstrap. Now the other thing I like to do is in the layout, let's add a div so that we get some breathing space here. Div class equals container fluid. That's my container of choice. And now we'll get something. Oh no, unreadable. That's because we have to restart the server. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And this is Bootstrap. We inspect that, bring over here. You can see that, is that using Bootstrap? Yeah, container fluid. Yes, there we go. So let's go over to the index of ecom orders. And the first thing we're going to do, of course, is make this table a table. Make it striped and make it a little smaller because there's a lot of data in there. So there we go. Does that Bootstrap actually do that? Tables. I should have looked up this before. Tables, small table. What is it? Oh yeah, table small. Okay. All right. So we've got our Bootstrap in. We've got everything there, and now you're saying, Phil, where's the data tables? And I'm like, okay, it's been how many minutes? Okay, it's been 10 minutes already. Where's the Bootstrap? Where's the data tables? So let's add data tables. Again, there's many ways you can do adding data tables. Because I'm so hooked on this bundle add, we're gonna bundle add, what is it? jQuery data tables, I believe. jQuery data tables. Oh, I did it already. Ugh. You know, I had to do this video like 3 times. So anyway, jQuery data tables is already in there. So, but what we didn't do is the generator. jQuery data tables install, and we're doing the Bootstrap 4 version. This will go off, put some stuff in there, and it will do it wrong. It will put data tables above jQuery, which will mean it won't work. So that's the tip. Data tables has to be below jQuery. That's one of the reasons I'm redoing this video. So we have data tables in there. So let's, if we look, when we refresh this, it's waiting. There's still no data tables because, of course, let's get rid of this stuff. We're not going to create any new orders. Script. Now, how do you do that? So we want to do document ready function. And then we're going to find, well, okay, so we need the order table. We need to give it an ID. So ID of orders table. We'll even camel case it. Equals orders table dot data table. Now, data tables has a million things that are confusing about it. One is that if you add the gem in, there's an I think even if you do the JavaScript, there's an uppercase, like a data table with like this with an uppercase D. Can you see this? Yeah, data table with an uppercase D, or data table with a lowercase d, if you can believe it. And they're different. So uppercase D is the one you want. Now, if we're lucky and we refresh this, it won't work. And that's because if we look at the inspector, we're going to see, can't read property M data. Let's refresh it. Can't read property M data. And you're like, well, what's wrong? And you know what it is? This is because of this call span 3. You know, we don't have a heading here. So the people at Rails, the good people at Rails, decided to give you one header that went over the top of those 3. That messes up data tables. I'm actually going to remove the header, and I'm going to remove those 3 columns anyway because it's looks like crap and we don't need it. Now, did you see that? There, we have data tables. Ta-da! 20 minutes, not even. So we have our pagination. We have sorting. We have searching. So we look for Amazon orders or eBay orders or orders that went to Michigan. Oh my God, nobody in Michigan bought anything. Colorado. There. And we can change the page size and everything like that. That's the basics of getting data tables installed. Let's move on and do a little bit, kind of better than that. So the first thing I would want to do, of course, is to sort this thing. And it's a zero-based column, so we want to sort it on purchase date. So by default 0, 1, 2, and sort it on descending. So now when we refresh the page, there we go. You can see the little icon there. So everything's automatically sorted by purchase date. And now let's make it, this is something that we are going to have, the customer's going to see this because they're going to be looking at their orders. So let's make it look a little bit better. What I like to do is combine some stuff. This is purely cosmetic, but that's what I like to do. Half of our job is about the cosmetics, It's like, yeah. So let's combine customer name and customer state into customer in, or just customer. Get rid of that heading. There we go. So now we've got their name and their state, and we can still search on that. So Utah, Colorado, or Mr. Janine Smith, Zachariah. I love the names from Faker. So we've combined the customer. Let's do some stuff for the purchase as well. So we're just going to say order or purchase. And what we will do, so I've got the purchase, so the platform order number. And then I'm going to grab the SKU. Oh, let's put a second line there. There's many ways to do this, of course. Strong, SKU, strong. Put the SKU there. Get rid of the SKU column. Get rid of the SKU column. We can even do, didn't grade an order, but you could do a link to there. I wonder if you can do that. I've never tried to do this. Never should try things first time. This won't work, will it? Oh, it does. So we got the purchase and the SKU. It's because I've got this zoomed so big, normally it would look something like that, but that's a bit small on the, not that small. But, so we combined that. What else would I like to do? Well, the order of the columns is completely wrong. Normally, you'd kind of want to know, you'd think about it logically, where they bought it, when they bought it, what they bought, and the status. So sales channel, purchase date. We don't need a price. So sales channel, purchase date, purchase info, price, status. So move those around. Then of course our sorting is all wrong. So we need to change that to the first column. And we can do better than this with Amazon and so on. So let's add in Font Awesome. Font Awesome CDN. So let's just grab that off of the, we'll use Font Awesome 5, and we're just going to grab all the stuff for Font Awesome, and we'll put that in our layout. So now we have Font Awesome, and we'll see what we're going to do. So what sales channel, instead of doing that, let's go to the helper, the ecom orders helper, and we're going to say def sales channel icon, ecom order. So we're going to case ecom order dot sales channel, and when it's Amazon, we'll do something. When it's eBay, we'll do something, and there isn't a Walmart icon, so we're going to just do an else. So what we can do, let's go to Font Awesome, and what we want to look for is eBay, and there is an eBay icon. Thank you. So we'll just grab that. So when it's eBay, we'll return eBay, and this is gonna be our icon string, and we'll return icon string HTML safe. So Amazon, there's an Amazon icon as well. Grab that. And otherwise, we'll just do question. And let's do a square question mark. Is there a square question mark free version? No, pro. Okay, question circle. We'll have to do. Otherwise, we'll do the circle. And then we can say sales channel icon. There we go. Take a look at that again. Ooh, and that's because it's not Amazon, is it? We can do that. Oh. So when it contains Amazon or eBay, there we go. We should get some Amazon, eBay, and so on. And should we? Yeah. And let's do the same thing for the confirmed. So I'm going to create a def order status icon, pass in the ecom order, and our icon string will equal case ecom order status. So when it's confirmed, we'll do something. When it's shipped, we'll do something. We have when it's delivered, we'll do something, and then otherwise we'll do that question mark. So the question mark's easy. Got that already. And don't forget to return icon string HTML safe. So when it's confirmed, what are we going to use? Go over here. Confirmed is all about they've paid. So let's grab some money. Money bill wave. Put that in there. When it's shipped, I wonder if they have something. Nothing. Ship. Oh, that's cute. Shipping fast. Let's grab that. And when it's delivered, pro. Let's use that. Okay. So, add that in. And that is the status, so we can replace that. Don't worry, I'll be done this stuff in a second. And we've got a little thing, a little bit boring, the colors. So let's make the bill wave of text info, text primary, and text success. Now, oh, we got some nice colors. So there we go. You know, it drives me. I'm sorry, I'm a bit like this. The other thing I want to do is change those times because I really don't like that. So we're gonna bundle, add local time, which is a nice gem from the bootcamp people. I think I need to do some JavaScript as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just that. JS. Let's require local time with a dash in it. Let's restart. And what we can do on these time columns is do this local time and local time. If ecom order dot ship that, because it may not be there. And there we go. So these are now in local time. If we look at the local time gem, it'll give us some nice, you use some kind of formatting string. Where's the one with a time zone? That's kind of cool. Let's see what that does. Ship that. That didn't seem to do anything. All right, whatever. So you get the time. Use a format string to get the, time zone or whatever like this. This is the default one. And then we can add a %Z or Z just so you can see. There we go. So I'm in Japan, so it's Japan Standard Time. So there you go. Just going to do that. I think it's nicer if you have a condition at the end to bracket it. That's all the changes I'm going to do for the layout and things like that, I think, for now. So we've got that all in there. Okay. We're on to the next phase. What have we done here? We've created the app, put in a bunch of libraries to make it look a little bit better, put in data tables, gussied it up a little bit, and now we've got this. But I wanted to show you something a little bit more funky than that. Let's get rid of it. We know what it is, sales channel. So let's do something on these rows. And we do that by adding a select box. You've all seen that, where you choose things like that. This is a little bit tricky in data tables, and this is exactly why I'm making this video right now, actually, is because of that. So let's, first of all, we're going to add gyrocode. There's a built-in or a plugin for jQuery that gives you select, supposedly, but I find that it does. I could never actually get it to work. So we're going to use the gyrocode one, which does work. And you can do that simply by adding in a couple lines of JavaScript. Of course, I'll put all the links and everything down to these libraries in here. I'm going to put these at the bottom. Well, I'll put the CSS at the top, JavaScript at the bottom. So I've got a CSS gyrocode here, data tables checkboxes CSS, and then at the bottom I've got the data tables checkboxes thing. So that's in, and then what we need to do in the data tables initializer, we need to add a column defs, which is column definitions, and we want to set the first targets to be the first column, and we want to say checkboxes, and we want them to select the row when we do it. That's all you need to do. And we can change the select style actually to be style of multi. That way we can choose more than one, not just one. So we've added this in column 0, so we do need to add a blank, cell there. So we added the header and we added the cell. There's the header, there's the cell, blank. Now any luck, we'll get a checkbox. Booyah. There we go. Checkboxes, ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. Select alls does a thing. That's nice. How do you do anything with that select information? I hear you asking. And the simplest way is to add a form. And the best way to add forms in Rails is to add another library, and that's bundle add simple form. Gotta love simple form. Not simple form even. And when that's done, it's in there. Simple form 5.1 is in there. Let's restart this. And let's add a form. And we're going to put this form at the bottom. Simple form for do f end. So what are we going to do? So we need an I just use a dummy order, ecom order.new. We're going to set the URL to be something we're going to create. How about we bulk actions ecom orders path. We'll set the HTML ID to be the bulk action form. I think that's all we need to do. We need to, of course, create this. So let's go to our roots. Let's add a do block. Let's add a do block. And what did I call it? So it's a post. We're doing a form, right? So it's a bulk actions. And this is going to be not on a specific one, but on the whole collection. And then in our controller, just below the update, we're going to bulk actions. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just redirect to index. I'm not going to be doing any updates or anything. I'm just going to be showing you how to get there. You can figure that part out for yourself. All right, so we refresh the page. Let's type the correct thing. And let's add a submit. f.submit, and we're going to call it submit. So now we've got a just want to give it some space here. Class. It's a margin top, border top. There we go. Oh, padding top. There we go. So submit. Now, let's take a look at what happens here. So if we go over to our server, I'm going to choose a couple of rows, and I'm going to click submit. We see that we did get a submit, but there's nothing in there. There's no, how do we know what rows we've got, right? That's because what we need to do is, at the time we submit the form, we need to say, okay, we're using these rows. So this is going to be, I'm not going to type this in because that would be painful. So let's paste that in. So what I'm saying is on the bulk actions, make sure I did set that to be, no, bulk actions. So on the bulk actions form, yes, here, on the submit, so it's the form that's being, doing the submitting, so we just set form to be this. Now we're going to go out onto the table, which is why we created this variable up here, and on the first column, which is checkboxes, get the ones that are selected. And then for each of those rows that are selected, we're going to bung a hidden input field in with an ID. And let's refresh the page. Let's choose some things. Let's clear our things so we know, and let's click submit. And then we can see we've got ID, and all it is a bunch of these, whatever that is, probably 100 because we have 100 rows, and nothing. So you're like, Phil, what the hell? And this is why I'm doing this video, because man, it's totally clear as mud that you have to do this. What you need to do is, when it puts those checkboxes in, it takes whatever the contents are of the checkbox and says that's a unique checkbox using these contents. But we didn't put any content in that cell. And so it thinks that they're all the same. So the easiest thing to do is to put the ID of the order. So now refresh, and let's choose a couple of these and submit. And now you can see there's the ID that of the rows that we selected. These rows are not sorted properly because I didn't change the sort. So let's change the sort to be 0, 1, 2 again. And then, because everything is random, if I choose a couple of these, we'll see that we're kind of getting some random, there we go, some random IDs because they're in random order. So that's cool. What we could do, of course, then in the bulk actions is we've got the IDs. We could simply look for the orders that are the IDs and do something. That's great if you have one form and one action, but we don't want to do that, do we? So let's finally get to the next level data table stuff that I'm doing this video for. Make sure my camera is still working, because this is the stuff here. I saw this website where they had the select box here, but when you selected something, this was actually a drop down, and you could choose what action it was you were going to do. And I thought, that is cool. I want to do that. How do you do it? It took me about 2 days to figure out, and that's why, again, I'm going to give it to you in this video. There'll be a, you know, if you're a cut and paster, I'll be putting this project up on GitHub and you can grab it yourself. So what do we do? First thing, let's turn off the select all that they give us. So now we refresh, there's no select all button. Great. What we're going to do up here is we're going to use Bootstrap and a button group. And a button group in Bootstrap is, let's see, we can go over and look at the Bootstrap website. Did I still have it? No. Nope, that was the wrong one to choose. A Bootstrap example, so we want to drop, no, a button group. A button group lets you have multiple things, so you can nest them. And you can do something like this, where you have text over here and then a drop down. I thought there was a better looking example, but maybe on this page. Anyway, so you can have two sides. And that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to do this. So let's, again, I'm going to copy and paste, if you don't mind. You know, I'll try it. I'll try it. So we want to create div of class button group. And then we're going to put 2 buttons. A button of type button and a class of button and button light and button small because we don't have a lot of space. And then we'll put the end button. And inside of this, we're going to put a span with an ID of select all. And then inside of this span, we're going to put from font awesome a square. And just a regular square. A regular square. So we put that in there. Now if we take a look, we do a quick refresh here. See, we've got that square. And then we're going to add another button. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this one. This is the button that does the drop down. This is all standard Bootstrap stuff. So it's a button, again, type button of class with a button, button light, button small, but it's a drop down toggle and a drop down toggle split, the action, and so on and so on. So if we again take a look at that, now we've got this drop down. We don't have anything in the drop down. So we create your regular drop down menu that you would do in Bootstrap. Do that as the next div. And then you just put a bunch of links in there. ID of, this one needs an ID. I'll show you why. Num selected text. And so you just do these things, you just do these links, drop down item. We don't even need an href. Well, you need an href, but you don't need it to go anywhere. And we can say 0 orders selected. So that'll be the first one. Let's just take a look and see. Now if I put there, here's 0 orders selected. And I created a whole bunch of other things and I'll paste those in right now. I'll show you what I did here. Create a divider, and then what are the things you're going to do when you have an order? You know, maybe you want to refund that order, maybe you want to send an email to that order. You know, and if people are really crazy in doing stuff, you want to question the customer's sanity, or if you really don't like them, you want to stalk them online. Those are our actions that we would potentially take on an order, and yes, I'm joking. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got. There, we have this drop down, got the dividers. All standard Bootstrap stuff, sits at the top, does absolutely nothing, I hear you say. All right, well, first thing we did, where is it? In the header, we created the checkbox with an ID of select all, so let's do something on that. There's the select all. And when we click on it, we're going to check and see how many rows are selected. And if the rows selected are the same as the page length, then select them, or turn them off, select false, and otherwise turn it on. So that should give us a select all behavior. Now the only problem is, because I'm not doing Ajax and because I'm not paging properly, there's actually 100 checkboxes, you can't see them. I leave that as an exercise to you to do some proper paging, pagination for this. But yeah, there you go, it's turning them on and off. And, okay, now when you click the submit, so if you do this, we haven't changed anything yet, right? We're still doing that. So we don't want to click a submit anymore. We want to do it from up here. So first of all, let's get rid of the submit button. And then what we'll do is from these links, when they are selected, we will trigger the submit of the form. And the way that we do that is by, another click listener on, this time we're not going to do it on an ID. We've used a class on all of these, so on a button action link, that was maybe too fast, sorry, on button action link that I added on all these A tags, we will do something very similar. There we go. So on the button action link, on a click, we will log, I'll show you the action in a second, but we're going to get the rows selected, and then for each row selected, we're just going to bulk action form submit. And then we know inside of the submit, it gets the stuff. Let's just comment this out for a second. And I'll show you now that it is doing what we want it to do. Let's clear our console. Let's pick 3 things, choose that, click refund, and if we go over here, we can see that it's done a bulk actions, and it's got the IDs of 22 and 4, which were the IDs of the rows that we selected. But we don't know what we're doing. We only know that we've been sent. So we add a hidden field on the form action type, and then when we are selected, see, I've added a data element, a data action, refund, email, question, stock. We pull out that thing, stuff it into the hidden field on the form, and then we'll see it on the back end. So here's the stuffing of the value into the form. Let's refresh one more time. In the home stretch, choose these, bing, bing, bing. Go down here, let's say send email, and now we see our action type is email, and our ID are these. And on the back end, we can go through, we can find those orders from those IDs. We know what our action is, and we can send or respond to that action for those emails. Whew. Did it. Oh, my camera didn't die. That would be a bummer. Nope, camera looks good. So that's it. We created a Rails 5 app. We added in all the goodies like bootstraps and jQueries and data tables. We put the data in. We put that data into a data table. We did the select all. We did a submit form, and then we did the next level stuff of the drop down with the actions. There you go. This is what building about a professional app is all about. Finding these parts and these components and getting inspiration from other websites and doing that on your website and not stopping until you figure the thing out. So I hope you like these kinds of videos. And if so, of course, like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, whatever it is, just so you can get information about the next time I do a video. I will be keeping on doing them, and for me, okay, I did this in an app, an actual application. I did this, but to do this video really, makes me distill down what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. So it's very helpful to me. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to give you some information. Drop me a line. See you soon. Thanks.